And we are back with another episode of the jankityasspodcast, number 49. Tom's doing something.
I'm getting all the models out of the thing to put on the thing so I can put the paint on the models in the thing.
Gotcha. He's doing that. Best line I ever heard playing D&D back in the day. One of my buddies, the DM asked, like, all right, what do you guys want to do? You guys get to the city. What do y'all want to do now? And he literally says, I'm going to do something to find someone somewhere. Just unironically.
I mean, that's every D&D campaign ever.
And yeah, of course, we all laughed at him
and then shot him. And then we killed him.
And right now, Tom's doing something to find something somewhere. But he's coming back.
Ugh.
Hey, I thought you bought a microphone. What happened to that?
It's one of those things where I need to put more time into testing it. I could probably switch right now, actually, if I plug it in here. But no, let's not cause problems.
Yeah, later. We're already on.
I'll get on early next time and I'll test it out.
You just kind of old manned it.
It's one of those things where, like, it's supposed to download an update driver when I put it in, and it didn't do that. And it, like, was causing weird issues, but that might have just because it was Discord. I don't know. So, long story short, I got to do that.
I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Mine, I didn't really have any problems with. So real quick, is your audio out again already, or?
No, my headphones just turned off. I definitely charged them.
Oh.
Plugged in now, so.
There you go.
Screw you, nature.
Yeah, not tech. Tech is good. Nature bad.
Yeah, praise the Omnissiah.
And if it is in your nature to watch our podcast, of course, go down to the corner, like and subscribe, nice. Multi-Murdy Media. You will get the Jankity Ass Podcast playlist, which you're looking at right now. You will also have the Poncho's Paint Booth playlist. That's all of my painting and hobbies, stuff like that. Well, really just painting. And you will also get the Gutsy Ass Gamer playlist in, well, more than one, depending on the game. Currently playing through Fallout, which I am also working on right now. I've just been recording a bunch of stuff, or as my dad would say, just sitting around on my ass and playing video games all day. But not really.
I mean, as a good dad should, right?
Right. But yeah, so I've got a lot of footage stockpiled already. I just gotta kind of collect enough for one more episode. I just did the retaking the castle.
Ooh, nice.
Part where you have to deal with that. I haven't gotten the mortars yet, so I'm still waiting on that. And then I'm gonna go do the you know, when the Brotherhood airship shows up and you go do the quest where they're like, all right, welcome to the Brotherhood. We're gonna go drop on like a whole fortress full of super mutants. Have fun. Yeah, that mission. But then after that, that's when you get the smoke grenades that call one of their helicopters to you.
Which, dude, that was so clutch finishing that game with that ability. Except like when you were in a subway and you're like, damn it.
Yeah. So I'm doing that for now. The painting's still on a little bit of a hiatus, especially since one of the videos that I want to have come up next after what I've got loaded up right now just happens to include that bit that I told you that I managed to forget. I literally somehow, that was just the only one that I forgot, the little scope there. Nerd time for all you listening, and then, yeah, I tossed out everything that I wasn't able to use later, and then, yeah, just the other day, it's like, oh, shit. Happens to the best of us, though.
It's okay. Things will get better one day, maybe not.
Yep. And speaking of models, I'm sure 40K wise, you probably already saw the Bellicor and rules. And rules too.
So the model itself is just like fucking gorgeous. Like all of the stuff they do now. So there's that. Excuse me. The second thing though is
Happens
the
to me too.
rules. The second thing is the rules look pretty cool. Like he's definitely durable, but we won't really know how killy he is until we see his psychic tree, which apparently he has his own discipline. What his mastery is, and also what his stat line is. Because like being super durable, if you have like 9 wounds, ain't shit. And having a sword like that is one of those things where if he has like 4 attacks, it sucks. But if it has like a bunch of attacks, it's pretty good. So it really just depends.
I would guess like 5 or 6 attacks probably.
You'd think, right? But you know,
I would imagine that he's probably going to be a Lord of War, most likely.
He's going to be a Supreme Commander character, I think.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know if he might be. You can be both. Like for example,
well, yeah,
like Magnus and what's his name, Mortarion. Yeah.
Silent King too.
Silent King.
Well, he is Lord of War. But yeah, I think he's just gonna basically just be a giant beat stick that you fly around because he's not gonna be buffing anything nearby.
No, that ain't me.
Maybe just like the greater demon leadership thing, but that's it.
Let's see.
Actually, wouldn't be bad.
Where my Rhinox at? Although would this work? No, I don't know. That wouldn't work.
Tick.
What are you drinking?
Today, starting out with, I am drinking the Hidden Temple Hazy IPA.
Ooh.
This is from Falling Knife, or no, wait. Yeah, Falling Knife Brewing Company in Minneapolis. So they are definitely having a lot of fun out on the streets in Minneapolis still. But
is there a specific reason you say that, or just in general?
Just in general. Well, I mean, I do have, well, A, they're in Minneapolis, and, you know, B, well, I also, I have some of my old high school friends that live in Minneapolis, so I get to see, you know, all of that a little more often than we do here.
Oh, yeah.
So, political-wise, but, you know. Anyways.
Yeah. So basically what, they're like mask out, guns out, kind of the state right now?
Yeah, little Wild West.
Hey, man. I mean, what is it? Some newspaper came out recently, and it's like rather independent, was like, yeah, like we compared the numbers from last year from California to, you know, Florida, and you know, Florida didn't do shit, right? And California like went on super lockdown. And the sad irony is that
it's all the same.
It's the exact same, almost down to the wire, and it's making people think like, so should we keep doing this? Like, can we ask this question now and not be called a Republican or a Trump supporter? Like,
well, I think, I don't know. Let's say,
because right, that's
that's
the problem, right? With like part of the reason this was all handled is that it took the media about 2 seconds to be like, well, if we make this a political issue, we could talk about this for years to come, you know, and so it's like, I mean, again, it doesn't matter what your leaning is, and it doesn't matter whether or not you think it's a big deal or if it's not a big deal. The fact of it is, it existed, and there's definitely something that should have been done about it, but but it became also a political weapon, and on both sides, and that was not good for anybody.
I think also too, weren't like both California and Florida like at the same time also kind of the most on the high end of cases?
Yeah, they both got hit pretty hard early on, they were like one of the ones where it was like, oh, we need to do something now. And I think that's part of it, right? Is that super immediate lockdown of like, well, we got to do something.
That's true. Yeah, so basically everybody's wrong.
Everybody's wrong. Everything sucks. We all gonna die.
Hell yeah.
If you just tell yourself that every day, it's like you get by it. It's like, man, this is, okay, this is a standard I can accept about what's going on right now.
But some things that are going right is this beer is 7.3%.
That is a good thing.
It ain't too bad. And it's a hazy, so nice and thick.
So I didn't have a whole one because I'm still doing my diet thingy-majigab. But I did have a cider earlier. It was Trader Joe's. It was Henry Hotspur's dry cider. It's pretty good. I mean, I actually do enjoy a good cider when I have one. The problem with ciders for me are like they're usually like way the hell too sweet, or they're just loaded with sulfites and you just get a mad headache at the end. But for me, it was pretty good. I still think my favorite cider that I've had to this day, or at least my favorite company, is Anna Cider. They're a small one up in Ojai, and they're pretty damn good. They have this pineapple habanero one, which you think is like it's like spicy going down. Good. It's spicy going down, and then it mellows out sweet, and it's dry, so it's not even too sugary either. It's like it's divine. I drank like 2 whole pitchers of it when I was out there tasting them. I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna need another one of these.
I drank like all of it.
we brought this for the table. I know, I know, but I'm not driving.
There's a table. You heard the man. No, I would probably drink ciders more often too, but I like ciders, but also at the same time, anytime I I just don't think of them really, because
they're not a normal two.
Because like anytime I go to drink anything, I'm expecting like normal beer. So even if I was like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna have a cider this time around, I would drink it, and part of my brain would still be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. Well, now not to mention which too, right? It's like except for some of the bullshit ones like Angry Orchard or I mean, if you want to call Mike's Hard cider, sure, I guess. But like there's not like any like super well-known ones that people go to, you know what I mean, that are good. Strongbow is the closest I can think of that's on a national level that's good, but even then, man, Strongbow is a little too sweet.
Strongbow was the one they had the ads with what's his face, Captain Picard.
Oh, Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
I never saw those ads actually.
I could be completely wrong. Who knows?
No. I mean, I don't doubt it. I know he's done a lot of ad work, but
it was a while ago. I'm pretty sure I've definitely seen some the odd Japanese ad from him too.
Oh, absolutely. It's like him and Tommy Lee Jones are like the kings of American Japanese commercial actors.
Oh yeah.
Which, if you ever want a good time, Google some of those Tommy Lee Jones ones. They're hilarious.
Just looking. Agent M. Hojigawa.
It's basically it. He's just sitting there just like the stern, pissed off man, and he just yells random things in Japanese. That's like clearly he didn't know until he was told how to say it on set.
And then promptly forgot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why would he got a sweet ass business trip to Japan, man.
Actually, speaking of actors, that was one of the one thing I thought of before is like people that we don't really see in movies enough that we'd want to. Like mine, the one that came to mind for me was Grandma's Boy, the guy who played Dante. Oh, what's up, dude? The stoner.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm trying to remember that.
As far as I know, he's literally only in Sandler movies. Because that's like
that could check out. I know that. Let's see. So he plays Dante.
Yeah, he plays Dante. He was the needle dick guy in The Waterboy.
That's Peter. That's Peter Dante. That's his name.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Or the really good looking one?
Yeah, he's in Waterboy. Yeah, he's in all Adam Sandler movies.
Just all Sanders. He was also one of the metalheads in Little Nicky. I finally got to see that one again not too long ago.
Actually, you know what? Speaking of rewatches, one I just watched was because they just put it back on Netflix is Batman Begins.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny because I was watching it and I was like, man, this movie aged. Like you can tell it was like, 2000, like it was 2011, man. Like good grief. And you're watching it and it's like you could tell it's an older movie, but it held up really well. I mean, there were definitely some times going into it watching, because like when I first watched that, I was like, 21, 22. I was just jazzed that they were making superhero movies now. I know, right? Fast forward 10 years later. And it was really good. I really liked it, but there were like a couple times I was like, well, the plot's a little silly in some cases. Like they could have, but maybe that was like it was on purpose that it was a bit outlandish, but it was really well executed. It was like a really well done movie, and I appreciated that. I don't know. It held up. Like when I saw it, I gave it an A+, but like now I'd give it like a B+.
I did see that they have all three of those movies up there actually now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through them again just to kind of give an idea. I have a feeling that of all of them, I think it'll be probably Dark Knight. That's still just like the pinnacle. It's the Empire Strikes Back of the trilogy.
Yeah, I actually thought that well, I agree with that. 2 was definitely the best, but I feel like 3, the third movie could have been the best, but for whatever reason, like it felt like it just got a little more. It passed the like the stopping point for being outlandish, just a little bit.
I think there's that, and I think that what it really tried to do is it really tried to get into the psyche of Batman again. Of like, the first movie is conquering his fear, the second movie is conquering his greatest enemy, and the third movie is about conquering himself again? Question mark? Or is it conquering an unwinnable scenario? I mean, so there's a lot of that I really liked, but it could be too heady for a movie about a superhero, even though it was well done, I think. And I think at that point too, that's when Nolan really kind of wanted to start doing more cerebral movies, which is like why the next freaking things we got were Inception, Interstellar, and Tenet, right? I mean, those movies you kind of have to.
Was Inception after Batman Forever or whatever?
90% sure. I'm
or the Dark Knight.
Maybe
Returns.
It was in between.
Not Batman Forever.
Batman Forever, motherfucker. Oh no, dude! Inception was before all of them. I'm an idiot. Oh, yeah. Inception was 2010. Shit.
There you go.
Huh. So then maybe he wanted. Then I'll alter my thesis statement. He wanted to return to that kind of more cerebral movie making process, because I know Interstellar was after those for sure.
Oh yeah.
Let me double check myself again. I'm probably wrong.
Well, I would also imagine that by the time Dark Knight Returns came around, they were probably like, yeah, go ahead and do whatever you want. Type of deal.
Interstellar was 2014. Dark Knight Returns. Or is it Dark Knight Rises? No.
I want to say Returns. Well, I'm sure if you put in Dark Knight, you'll get.
Dark Knight Returns is a cartoon film.
Shit.
Oh, what was it?
Not that.
Nolan, Batman, Gotham City, Wayne Manor. He did Dark Knight Rises. That was it.
Dark Knight Rises,
that came out.
Okay.
That was 2012.
There you go.
I got that right.
Close enough.
Anyways, I loved Interstellar to death. I thought that was such a cool freaking movie. I really liked Tenet. Tenet was just like, I won't spoil it for people who are here, although I feel like it's so complicated I could talk about what's happening in no way. But damn, that movie was so good. I really liked it. I like the idea of involving these like really high concept science like fiction things in movies, or even not too stretch of a science fiction, right? Neither of them necessarily was. They just didn't explain the technology of, okay, well, how did you get in space? Right? Or like,
Yeah.
well, how do things go back reverse entropy? Like, how does that shit work?
Yeah, that wasn't important.
Yeah, that's the only
No.
suspension of belief.
I think the only thing that was the one thing that was kind of weird is apparently what's his face, Washington's character never actually had a name
Yeah,
in
he's
the
never
movie.
given a name.
That was kind of interesting, which is funny because usually when I go see a movie that isn't like a massive blockbuster,
Hmm.
I will completely forget like the names of the characters because they maybe only say them once,
Right.
and then it's just like whatever.
And in this case, you couldn't remember his name because they never said it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's it. um, what else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, actually, one thing that I did think was kind of cool, or at least now that I think about it, was in the that first one, Batman Begins.
Hmm.
The one scene that always sticks out to me is whenever he gasses the Scarecrow back.
Oh yeah,
And
that's right.
then
Yeah,
and then he sees Batman as like the fucking
it's
ghost or whatever.
yeah, he looks like a demon prince basically.
I remember I always thought if I ever were to make a movie somehow, some way, or something like that, like it would be interesting to just have like real life, but then at one point also at some points also see like what the characters think of, and it would just be like wildly different.
So like a movie that shows the audience perspective, like which is unassuming, right? Because we're watching the movie the first time, but then it shows things interiorly. Like
Something.
you'll see some scenes from the perspective of a character. Yeah. Well, I mean, 'cause that's how novels work a lot of the time, right? Like sometimes chapters will switch and you'll see like, oh, this is the chapter from the this character's perspective or that character's perspective. Um, I feel like there's a movie that does that decently well
Well, I'm thinking more
that I
of
saw
like
recently. I don't know.
yeah, well, kind of more like imaginative and visually like what
Oh,
was
like
that movie?
visually
Like the
striking.
Cell. Yeah, remember that one?
Okay. The Cell.
That's the one with
No.
uh what's her face? With Jennifer Lopez and Vincent D'Onofrio.
Jennifer Lopez. Oh, I remember that casting. I don't remember the movie, but I
And
do. I'm starting to get some vague familiarities.
it's one where D'Onofrio is basically like kind of like a weird but he was kind of like a deranged serial killer who would kill a woman or whatever.
As he's wont to do.
Yeah, and I guess there was like a whole thing where he I guess like woman goes missing, and he kind of says like I have this person or whatever, but then he has a brain tumor or whatever and passes out, and like the only way they can find this woman is to go inside of his brain.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And of course, you have the real world. They're literally just sitting in what looks like an interrogation room strapped to, a couple tables and stuff. But then obviously, in the serial killer's brain, it's like Narnia
It's like
meets Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
meets Hellscape, probably, right? Because he's a serial killer.
Not so much. It's more like it's a lot of like a little kid running around inside of his own brain. And split personalities and all that fun stuff.
Oh.
Oh, and Vince Vaughn was in it too.
Yeah, and one of his many attempts to do a serious role, probably. Actually,
he can do whatever the fuck he wants, honestly.
yeah, he really can. He's done it. He doesn't. I mean, and hey, good for him. I like it when actors try different things. Like, I'm not gonna knock it. I'm only knocking Vince Vaughn because it's easy to knock Vince Vaughn. But even though it's not, it's like, oh, the guy's still incredibly successful, and he has a couple movies where he's like really good in it. So it's like, nothing against him personally. But what is it? What is it? Chris Rock is going to be the detective in the new Saw movie, right? That's a cool ass casting.
Is this a new Saw movie?
Yeah, I know, right?
Haven't they done enough?
No. Just leave him alone. This one's supposed to be more about. I'm not sure if it's a prequel or like a he's back kind of thing. I feel like it's a prequel. Like when they identify him as the Jigsaw killer the very first time. But I thought there was a twin like that. I know, right? Yeah. What was it? What was it? Beer Fest did that, where
oh yeah,
that guy's character died. Yeah, and his cousin shows up that has the exact same thing, just a mustache. Oh man, that was such.
Well, yeah, he was more like, could you guys just call me Landfill? Like, all right, sure.
Yeah.
Get in
just
there.
To make things look, yeah, just in honor of my brother.
I think those guys haven't done anything in a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything from them. My favorite thing they ever did was, most people say Super Troopers, but actually my favorite thing they ever did was Club Dread. I thought Club Dread was hilarious. And Puddle Cruiser was really good too, although Puddle Cruiser was that one's one of their first ones, if not their first one, and it's just really dry humor, but it's still good, it's still enjoyable. It's a little more on the serious note, but it's pretty good. I just realized too, I never saw Super Troopers 2. I never saw the second one.
It was okay. It was basically a lot of they definitely tried to just get in like, punch after punch.
Yeah. Just keep it going.
Yeah, kind of like I don't know if you ever saw like the two Grown Ups movies. Speaking of Sandler movies,
I saw the first one.
Yeah, so like imagine that with a little bit less story and just again more punch after punch after punch. It's still funny.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's still hilarious, but it's a lot more like I don't have to think while I'm watching this.
Right, but and that's the thing too, though, is like I think it's really hard to make good like slapstick comedy still, right? Oh, yeah. Like we don't really do that anymore, or we don't really go to that as much as we used to. In society, we live in a society, but I think there's still a place for it, and I think it's probably a lot harder to do, right? Because especially if people like it and they want a sequel, like how do you do that without being derivative, Or like it's so easy to fall into slapstick tropes where it's like certain things like, oh, okay, I know where this is heading. Oh, there's a slight twist to the joke, but it's still funny, and I still saw it coming,
Well, also, movies aren't exactly filmed with a live audience taping either.
Unless it's the Truman Show.
Yeah. So they won't just be like, joke, pause, and then you hear the ah ha 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 in the back.
Actually, what's funny is if you're watching something with a laugh track, which is whatever. The key is if you ignore the laughs as you hear them, that will tell you whether or not the show actually has any humorous merit. I'm pretty sure How You Met Your Mother has a laugh track, right?
Probably.
I think so.
I would imagine.
But it's actually really well written. It's pretty funny. Maybe it doesn't have a laugh track. I don't know. But Big Bang Theory, you take the laugh track out of that, and it is the most godforsaken piece of shit you've ever seen in your life. God, I hate that show.
Sounds about right.
Ugh.
Maybe all their fans were just Indian Facebook bots. Because anybody who actually talks about the Big Bang Theory doesn't think it's as hilarious as everybody claims it to be, but they were still, multimillionaires by the end of that run.
Oh yeah, sure. So, which again, hey, who knows? Good on you, man. You made your money, you got out. It's funny actually. I was in the car the other day, and I was listening just to the radio, because sometimes, like, sure, the radio's derivative, but it can be kind of fun to be like, well, what am I going to hear of the same things I always hear, right? Or maybe I'll hear something I haven't heard in a while, because sometimes, especially around lunchtime when I'm in the car, like I'll drive home for lunch, like you tend to hear some like stuff you don't really hear as much, because lunch hour, it's like oh, okay, like I feel like they've gotten a lot more experimental with that area. You're right, there's less people on the road, there's more people actively listening, so they probably are able to get away with more specific requests. And I remember I was listening and Imagine Dragons came up, and I fucking hate Imagine Dragons so much. I think multiple metal band frontliners have said that they're just the worst band that has ever existed, like regardless of genre. Like the lead singer of Slayer said that they were the worst band that has ever graced a rock stage.
That's funny.
Another metal singer guy doubled down on that. And if you think, I mean, God, they're so annoying and awful, and I can't stand them.
So they're like the Maroon 5 of bands.
Jesus, I mean, hey, dude,
Speaking
at least, I mean, at least Adam Levine had a freaking talent. I mean, he can write some bangers, and that was part of a genre of music that I'll guiltily admit, liking when I heard it in bars, but or clubs. But man, God, I hate Magic Tracks. And I remember thinking to myself, if someone came up to you with a Magic, scenario right now and said, we'll go back in time, you'll still have everything about your life that you want now, except you'll just be a quadrillionaire. But the way you did it was by being the lead singer of Imagine Dragons and making that music. Would you do it? And my first thought was, no. I
guess I'm stuck here.
Yeah. It was like, God, no, I would not do that, because I don't want my name anywhere near that shit. I'd hate it. I know I'd hate it the entire time. And then I thought to myself, well, once I let the greed set in, I was like, well, maybe I would, just for the money, just do it for, if it's only for 5 years, yeah, totally. I'll do that, make my money, get out. Or if it's like, I could use it as a gateway to actually like do cool shit. Like, oh, okay. It's like in the news today, the, lead singer of Imagine Dragons, Tom, did a complete freaking 180 when he simultaneously, started an electronica techno house band and a death metal melodic core, compilation of like super group. Like, I don't know. It like, I could see that being funny, where it's like, yeah, we didn't expect this from this guy. Like, he actually is not just this, I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
Just as long as you don't go the other way and they're like, yeah, lead singer of Imagine Dragons, Tom, did a 360-degree line of coke. We miss him.
But man, that guy was a fucking legend.
Yeah, that's a $4 million will get you.
I've always wanted to die expensive.
Yeah, right. We're back on.
Bonus content.
Bonus, right? So
or I cut it in.
I got my ways. I'll figure it out. But no, shit. What was I gonna say? The fuck was I gonna say? No. Oh, okay. No. One of the reasons that getting into comedy actually interested me is because as far as like how I interact with other people, I'm at the part right now where I will think of like the quick-witted and like what's the fucked up thing that I can say to really just like 180 this whole conversation, but my body doesn't actually do it yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so that's what you like to do, and you can do it sometimes, but you're not in the habit of doing it.
Right. So like any like whenever somebody says something to me that is like that this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, or it's just ridiculous or highly offensive to me, like but my brain automatically has like the right thing to say, even it's just like, are you retarded or whatever, but like I will just completely just like be speechless,
even though you can hear the thought in your head.
Yes. Exactly.
Oh, okay.
And also, I'm slowly working on the part because I know I've said before that whenever I like do an edible or I smoke or whatever, yeah, I'll get the tangents going a little bit more than normal, and I'm slowly working up to the part where I can articulate that into a proper vocalization, I guess is the word.
All right.
And finding the right words, but
Yeah, working your way to the non-weed habit.
yeah, just balancing it out
There you go.
or whatever, I guess is the proper way to put it.
It's rotten proper.
Oh yeah, and I also got smart, and I finally got a like another TV table for when I'm in here.
Oh, nice.
In the closet, because like I normally I just have my little whatchamacallit cabinet thing over here,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, after last week, like before you came on with the show, I was sitting here like with my little tray, grinding up my weed and stuff like that, and then just like digging it out and doing all the process of packing the bowl, but I'm also clenched up like I'm in the middle seat of a car. And I'm just like, wait, what the fuck am I doing? I could just get I can easily get a little table in here, and now I got it.
Solid.
Yeah, actually, it's not very solid at all. It's pretty rickety, but yeah, it does the job.
Yeah.
And I also gotta clean out my bong too, because I'm getting to the point where like some of the little pieces fall into the tank at the bottom, and I think some of them are starting to sprout, so I gotta wash that out.
Yeah, bong hygiene. It's pretty clutch, I hear.
Oh yeah, and that's definitely not the way to grow either.
All right.
Okay. And now we're out again. Are you listening to this show and thinking, man, I'd like to start a podcast, but I don't even know where to start? Well, Buzzsprout has the answers for you. Buzzsprout is a podcast hosting service that provides a number of valuable resources to help you on your podcasting career path. For one, Buzzsprout offers indefinite hosting of all your episodes and allows you to host as much material as you want, depending on the type of subscription that you opt for. Buzzsprout also provides a means for getting your show hosted to every major podcasting platforms such as iTunes, Pandora, Spotify, you name it. In addition, Buzzsprout also provides various means to get your show monetized through various sponsorship and affiliate programs, links to other paid hosting platforms such as Patreon and YouTube, and your own personal newsroom to learn all the tips and tricks for optimizing your podcast for the greatest return on your investment. If you're hearing all this and you're still interested, you can go to my link below and receive an Amazon gift card for starting a podcast hosting subscription that you'll receive on the second billing period of your podcast journey. Everyone has something to share, and there's no time like the present. Join Buzzsprout today. Now I have XM, so I don't have to deal with the normal radio.
Well, yeah, you've got
bullshit.
it built in.
Yeah.
I mean, if I really cared, I'd just plug it to Bluetooth. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, true. No, I actually don't really listen to the metal channel that much anymore. Not so much because of the
Heresy.
no, not because of the music so much, but because they do a call-in game show every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And while I understand, the benefits of doing like a call-in thing, to engage your audience. You know, things like that.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way that I would ever do anything like that. We're not going to have just like random people calling in like it's the love line here at the jankityasspodcast ever.
Nah.
Because these people, you know, they get on, you know, it's all the, you know, hey, shout out to my mom, shout out to my cousin. I want to thank God. Like, Jesus Christ, just shut up and answer the fucking question.
Now, to make sure that we can qualify ourselves if we ever do become successful enough where we would consider that financially, are you saying you don't want to have people ever on to call shoutouts, or would you be okay with people calling in under a specific criteria?
No call-ins.
No call-ins?
I don't even like talking on the phone in my normal life. If my mom knew how to text, I would never answer the phone.
Now,
almost always.
Now, to put you in the same boat I was in earlier, would you do it if it was like, oh, guaranteed we're gonna be bringing in like $2 million Adam, just like, would you do it then if you knew it was guaranteed straight awesome money?
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't fucking like it though.
Yeah.
Hell no.
That could actually be a point. You could actually like be hostile to the people who call in, and it's like the idea of like people who worship Rick have no idea that they're the exact people he probably fucking hates. Like, I've seen what makes you cheer.
It's like, moron, what do you want?
Yeah. Got another fuckwit on the line. Oh, it's a great bit he does, isn't it? It's not a bit. I actually hate you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so funny, Carson. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, I'm a little more chill than that, but yeah, I don't know, which is also well, never mind. Actually, something else that I just thought of too, going back to TV episodes. One thing I found out is so I never really watched Seinfeld that much.
Okay.
And like there's only 2 episodes that I like really truly remember. One was the one where Kramer adopts a highway and just like paints out all the lines. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
he's got like the roller on his head.
Yeah. But but I don't even remember the whole. I just remember like that storyline. But then the one that I remember almost completely was the yada yada episode.
Oh, I know about the yada yada episode, but I don't remember if I ever watched it, but I know what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, the one where
isn't it like code for something?
No, it was.
Oh,
so it was where Costanza is like dating some girl, and you know you'd always be like, you know, oh, so hey, what did you do today, or whatever, and she would say like, you know, well, you know, I was on the train going to work, and there was this one guy, and yada yada. Then I went to the mall or whatever.
And he's like, wait, what?
Well, no, and so he goes on a few dates, and then like for whatever reason, every time she goes yada yada, you'd be like, you would get annoyed because it was like skipping over like
potentially important parts of the story.
Yeah, right. And so I think like the last date that they go on, she was like, well, you know, I had to get up early to go to work, and I was there for a couple hours, and then I got like something happened at the office, so I went to lunch and yada yada. I'm tired now. And he's like, and it was at night or whatever. And so finally he goes like, what? Hold on. What do you mean yada yada? And then and you know, just like kept pressing and pressing, and eventually they started arguing. She's like, fine. You know, after work, I went to lunch, and I went and caught up with my ex-boyfriend, and, you know, we may have done, you know, a little bit of this and that, and, I mean, I'm just kind of tired right now. Is that what you want? So, yeah. It was, like, the like, dating-wise, just, like, the worst thing imaginable was the yada yada.
That's pretty funny.
But, so, apparently, what I found out the other day is that's actually, like, for whatever reason, like, the one episode that I actually know, is like one of the most famous episodes of the series, and apparently that's also where the term yada yada came from.
So like people
Was that
adopted it because of the show.
yeah.
I could see that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if yada yada kind of existed like colloquially, like because like for me that sounds Yiddish. It sounds like Yiddish, like a little bit like that. And I don't know any real Yiddish. I just know a couple phrases and words just because my mom grew up around, that, and when she was in Long Island in the 50s,
Oh yeah.
so prime stuff, yada yada. But the only episode I remember to any real extent was the marine biologist episode, that and the homeowners association one with Jerry's dad. But it's actually back on Netflix now.
Ooh.
Or actually, it is on Netflix, I should say. I don't know if it ever was on, but it's on Netflix. So I've been actually thinking I should catch up on that. It's like one of those shows that like all my older siblings could like quote inside and out.
But it's also kind of like a daunting task too.
Oh yeah, I know. Like it's one of those things where it's like, well, I'm in this. Okay, I'm not getting into anything else on my own for a while.
I'm actually kind of in the same boat with Breaking Bad.
Oh, dude, I love that show.
Yeah, so I managed to see like the first 2.5 seasons all the way through, and then after that it was like I was living in Florida but didn't have cable, and then I got here and it was just like I had already missed at least a season or two, and then now we don't have cable again, so I just never got around to it. And it's one of those things I'm still just like I have like all this
well, it's on Netflix too.
yeah, this whole show that I've been neglecting for years now. And I did.
You did what?
I was say I also had the same thing with oh shit, what's the show with the motorcycles? The motorcycle
Sons of Anarchy?
gang? Yeah, so I had the same thing with Sons of Anarchy too, but I did eventually get around to that. I partially because I had seen more episodes or more seasons than it turned out than I had thought, actually. So that was a little easier to get through.
That's funny. That's funny how that happens. Where you're like, "Oh, I saw most of this show, and I don't even remember doing that." I saw like the first episode of Sons of Anarchy, but I think I was like graduating college, moving across the country. So I was like, I just didn't pick it up when I ended up moving. Breaking Bad, though, the only I love that show. It's great. I think one of the main reasons people should watch Breaking Bad, aside from watching it for its own sake, is because then you can watch and better appreciate Better Call Saul, which I think is just so good. It's like one of the best shows I've seen in a long time.
Oh yeah, that's. I didn't even think about that one yet. That's like a whole more, however many seasons worth of shit that I have to watch still.
I mean, that show, the thing is, they do a really good job of making it so you don't have to watch Breaking Bad to get it or to like still be impacted, but you get like so much more out of seeing it because like there's callbacks and certain characters that come back and you're like, oh shit, like I know what happens to you, this, and then. And plus, since it's a prequel series, it's got this weird effect of like, well, this guy's in this dire strait, so I know he doesn't die. Because I saw him in Breaking Bad, which happens after. But then there's also these characters that you like, and you're like, "Oh shit, I didn't see him anywhere in the old show. He might die in this one. Oh no!" And it's just interesting. It's also got some really, really good character-driven storytelling. It's just like some of these concepts behind these characters is just really good.
Nice. Well, it'll probably be a while before I get to any of that more again.
Nah, I know. Same here. I only really have time for the TV I watch with my wife. I don't really have time for anything else to watch. Even when I paint, I don't even usually watch TV anymore.
Oh yeah. Well, also now too, like I have plenty of podcasts that I just watch on YouTube now. So.
Oh yeah.
It's yeah.
Which podcast have you been hitting up more recently than that?
oh Jesus Christ, like everything from Gas Digital, pretty much.
Mm.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Mark Normand
No, I haven't.
at all. He and Sam Morrill have a podcast that I watch. It's whatchamacallit? It used to be called One More Drink, but now it's We Might Be Drunk. It's
Sounds like a sequel to that show.
it's New Yorkers. It happens. What else am I watching? Just some other stuff. I don't know. I already smoked up a bit earlier because
Nice.
my I don't know what I did earlier this morning, but my back is fully tweaked out
Oh dang.
right now, so I'm not a happy camper. But the good thing is that the chiropractors up the street from me is good for walk-ins, so
There you go.
I'll be fine in the morning. Especially now that especially after last summer, I actually know what to do. Yeah.
I mean, you yeah. And the funny thing is, I didn't even remember that until until a couple weeks after it happened. You were like, "Yeah, I basically broke my back," and I'm like, "What? Is that why I didn't see you for a couple weeks in a row?"
Not so much broken. It was just I mean,
yeah.
we hadn't seen anybody for
I meant
months
like
already.
Oh wait, did you break? I thought you broke it pre-COVID, or break. You know, I thought you.
No, that was last summer. Is when it got.
So
all
then, yeah, it
fucked
was
up.
during COVID anyway. Okay, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I was surprised I didn't hear about it, because it's not like we're a bunch of chatty Cathys up in chat, you know.
Yeah, fortunately.
That's how I like it.
Yeah, fortunately it didn't last too long, but no, we had X-rays when I first went in with him, because he's got like a closet with an X-ray machine, which is.
It sounds really creepy the way you put that. He's got this closet. He's got a little. Just take some pictures of me.
Now he's well, it's see-through, so you're not seeing the bad stuff.
Yeah, that's true. But it was still weird when you actually take your shirt off, though. You're like, what? He's like, it's an older model. This is an older model.
Could you imagine if like somebody gets arrested for like taking lewd photos, but then it's just like X-rays, so it doesn't even. They're just like, oh shit, there doesn't count.
That's like a bit in some show. I mean, it could be totally.
But no, he's now my guy's set up in like a kind of like a strip mall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they got stuff. But yeah, no, we took X-rays on my back, and it looked like the underside of a sink, pretty much. It was pretty bad.
Damn. From
the front, that was.
Yeah.
Too.
Yikes.
I remember waking up, and it looked like it looked like, you know, whenever you see a star or whatever, where like somebody gets cut in half like a tree or whatever, and then it just like slowly slides off. I looked like I was a few seconds into that. That's how fucking offset my back was.
Fatality.
Yeah, it wasn't good. But no, they twisted me up pretty good.
Nice.
Got me straightened out after a while.
Put you back on the path of the Lord.
Yeah. It just sucked too, because it was during the 4th of July. Yeah, so I spent the 4th basically laying on the floor for like a good 5 days or so.
Damn. Did you ever figure out what you did to do it? Was it like, were you lifting something, or?
I don't really. Well, I mean, ever since like I'd had my car accident back in high school, which wasn't really bad, but it kind of fucked up my back. But I'd always been struggling, right? But then in the fall before last year, back in November, I had done a HIIT class, and I did an exercise with those Bulgarian bags where you do like a full over body swing.
Oh
or
yeah, that can
whatever.
speed up.
And yeah, so I remember the morning after that, my back got like really fucked up. It was just like tight and sore or something like that. So it was some kind of nerve pinch, I guess, or something like that. And then like that slowly got better, but I was at a point where I wasn't. It was like I wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened over the summer, but yeah,
It could have
it
just been
got fucked up.
it could have just been wear and tear too.
Probably.
Like if you're already in a bad way, like that's how my knee gets sometimes. It's like my knee's all kinds of shit. And there were a couple times I really hurt it, and doing stuff that almost like wouldn't really hurt anybody else, but it's because it was already just so crap at that point. It just got crappier. Like the day they offer like prosthetic leg replacements, like as like an option in your insurance, I'm fucking going for that. I mean, that left leg, my left leg is just. I mean, it doesn't look janky. I actually look totally normal, but I just like I can't put too much weight on it. I can't run. I've torn the ACL twice. I've definitely torn the cartilage. And there are times where it's like, even when I'm in decent standing shape, like when we used to go to tournaments and just stand for hours, like I'd have to sit down, not because of my endurance or anything necessarily. It's just because my knee started locking up and just get really bad. And I'm like, great. I'm already getting the arthritis from this bullshit.
So you're hoping they can go full AdMech someday and say, well, we'll just cut the whole thing off, put a new one on.
I will sign the hell up.
If they get ever just like replace spines, I'd probably I wouldn't mind doing that. I mean, I would definitely be laid up for a couple months, but
I have a feeling that is a much more complicated procedure, even electively, than I mean, just a bit.
But, yeah, no. So I definitely have to I'll have to go in the morning tomorrow and get cracked again. Nice and good.
Don't get cracked again.
Well, it's funny too, because I remember after I had actually I did the full round with the chiropractor, and once my back finally started getting better after last summer, I remember just for like a week, I was like, oh, this is how a normal person feels. Okay, I get it now. Because I mean, there
is something wrong with me.
There is a God. Because I'd been like some level of fucked up since high school, basically. So.
Yeah, and I've heard that about car crashes too, where it's like, yeah, you come out of it fine, you think you're good, and then they just have long-term shadow effects that you don't even feel for years. Thankfully, I was only in ever one decently serious car crash, and the worst I got from that was whiplash. And it was crazy because the next day or two, I kind of freaked out. I was like, I can't move my neck and blah, blah, blah. And I went to the doctor. I was like also in high school, and he was like, oh yeah, you're going to be fine. Like we took x-rays and shit. Like it's just muscles, like just kind of locked up right now because they're healing. And true to form, thankfully I haven't really had any issues with my upper back or my neck or anything like that. The only thing I know is that at one point I'm going to tear the rotator cuff on my left arm. I just know it. I can start to feel that shit. Like it'll be right when I get back into exercising. I'll be making some good strides. I'll probably be doing a chest press, and then I'll tear it. I just know it. It's like one of those things I just feel in my bones.
Yeah, I was about to say doing what? I mean, I would imagine you don't do like a lot of baseball swings at your work.
I do it invisibly at my computer when I'm trying to vent without actually breaking any company property. I just do full swing and come to a full stop right before I hit the computer.
Well,
it's mildly therapeutic.
I don't know if you got like one of those offices where you get some asshole that likes to toss around a Nerf ball every once in a while.
Oh God, no! Ours isn't
like that. You cheeky bastard! Ah, my shoulder.
Yeah, wham! And I put a hole in his chest cavity. Okay.
There you go.
No, my office is one of those places where it's like It tries to. It's in a lot of ways very hip and modern, and in a lot of ways it's really not. So like aesthetically, visually, how people act, people look, how people treat each other, it like comes off as this like modern company. And then when it's like, oh, this is all of the things that they tell you about in worksheets about how companies shouldn't. Oh, okay. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
So let me guess. They tell you not to discuss your pay between coworkers,
Oh, dude, of
and
course.
and instead of a raise, you got a ping pong table.
No, instead of the raise I wanted, I got a raise, and I was once
50
again
cents.
it was 50 cents. It's one of those things where it's like you don't get what you want. I feel like you get used up and you're the favorite for a while, and then all of a sudden they just forget about you for the next model. And it's like, hey, I trained the next model, so you're welcome.
Sounds about right. But
If that guy
actually,
succeeds, I am directly responsible for that.
actually, speaking of offices, I remember, and speaking of my back too, I used to be able to. I used to be able to just do like the full twist on my own back in the day, because like at my old post production job, it was one of those really big places, and you know how like because you work at you normally work at a pretty big office too, right?
Yeah, so like I work at and like I mean our area has like 3 floors, and there's like maybe 500 or 600 people in there.
Yeah, so I'm sure you also have the same situation where like everybody has the shitty office chairs, and then there's also like a handful of the really nice conference chairs that somehow somebody manages to get. You know what I
They
mean?
actually, I know in principle, yeah, they upgraded a lot of the chairs by the time I had gotten back. So most of our chairs are actually okay, but like there are times where I'm like, oh man, like screw this chair. So it just depends on how I'm feeling.
But no, I whenever we moved to a newer building, like halfway through my time there, I had managed to get my hands on one of the really nice chairs that leaned all the way back.
Nice.
And yeah, so I used to, especially whenever we got into the later hours, I used to work where I would just like, put my legs up on the desk and I just kind of work over to the side. But then like if I just sat there, kind of let my body settle, and I'd get to the point where I'd like reach over for a pen or something like that. That's when my back would do like the full chiropractic pop, like a tube of biscuits. But yeah, that would, and it would do the tricks. I never had any problems, I guess, until more recently.
When you didn't have that magical chiropractor chair.
Exactly. But and now I just have to suffer, I guess.
Welcome to America.
Yep. I switched beers since I finished the last one.
Oh yeah, what's
This
this one?
time I am drinking the Ferragosto. It's Italian style Pilsner.
Ooh,
It's,
looks interesting.
looks depressing.
I mean,
Kind
yeah,
of.
that artwork.
like an old black metal album. This is brewed and canned by Logsdon Farmhouse in Washagal, Wisconsin.
Which,
Yeah.
as we all know, screams Italy.
Oh yeah.
Washagal, Wisconsin, the little Italy of Wisconsin.
Well, I'm sure. I don't know. Maybe it was founded by Italians.
Yeah, who knows? I'd believe it. A lot of different immigrants went to Wisconsin, specifically Germans, though.
Oh yeah, that's everywhere in the Midwest.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even back home we have a not an Amish community, but
Quaker?
no, it was the other. There was another. I don't remember. It's completely gone. It was similar to Amish. But
Similar to Amish. See, no, I can't think of it.
Me neither. It's completely gone. I'm sure I'll remember. I don't know, a few months from now.
Well, that's on them for having terrible missionary work.
Yeah, right. Well, it's not really missionaries if your whole thing is to avoid people.
I know it's part of it.
But no, this reminds me more of like a kind of like a Kolsch type of beer, but not quite as tangy, I guess.
That would actually be a great sketch. Would be like missionaries come to your house and tell you about their religion, and they say, "I'm not." The guy says, "Oh, I'm not interested," and they're like, "Oh, okay, great, thank you. That's what we wanted to know." And they start walking. He's like, "Whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean?" It's like, "Well, we're letting you know because we have something in town, but we don't want you to be a part of it." He's like, well, "Wait a minute, because of me?" And he's like, "Oh no, just we don't want anybody. We got, and we're good. We don't want anybody. We're just going around, make sure nobody wants to come in." Like, you could develop a whole bit around that.
Like, well, fine. Well, fine. Fine.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, how do I get in? Like, it ends up working where like the guy ends up wanting to get in instead. And he's like, "Is this one of those reverse tactics?" It's like, "No, we really don't care about you. We believe there's a hell, and we're totally cool with you going there. Like, we're fine with that."
See, I could see that. But no. Anyways, the point I was making is that that's why I went ahead and hit a bowl already before the show, cause my back for now.
Nice.
And I'm sure I'll pack one on later. Again.
I'm pecking on different things these days, if you know what I mean.
Well, me too. But now, I mean, it's fine too, because like Mondays are kind of my my do nothing days. So,
oh, nice.
I wasn't planning on doing anything anyway. So, fortunately,
it's like that. It's that Cat Williams joke where he's like, "I got this new weed. It's called deaf. You mean I smoke it and I die? No, it means you smoke it, you can't hear shit. Dude, I got shit to do today."
Yep. See, what was I gonna say? Oh, and actually, yeah, I finally started using the this bong that I got a bit more too, and I like this one because it has like a kind of an air locking chamber in the middle.
Modernized bongs.
Something like that. But I mean, the point is so that like whenever you fill it up, it doesn't just, all dissipate out the top right away, which is good for me because I can't just like, go like a full draw in and then a pull and just a continuous breath in. Because that'll, I don't know, my lungs aren't as good, especially being a bigger guy. So it's good for me because it saves the smoke for me.
It's efficient. That's pretty cool, actually.
There you go.
Yeah. What is it? What second weed like really becomes federally legal? That's when weed stocks are gonna take off, man. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, I've got some.
I have zero.
Waiting.
I have zero money invested in any of them, but I know it's gonna be a thing because shit like that makes money.
I've got about $60, which is globally zero, and things that matter.
Nice.
No, I do have I don't know, it sucks. I have some other cash that I invested for just like a small short term type of deal, and it's not turning out to be that short term because I bought on the dip and then I got another dip. So
hey, you gotta hold through, man. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
What is it? Especially because we're still in the first quarter, right? So it's like the market's gonna correct itself before it continues on a bear run or a bull run. So you just gotta keep holding until you hit that strong suite again.
I'm hoping.
Just keep praying to the gods and only check your phone once a week.
Well, the good thing is it was only like $50,
Yeah.
which is now worth about 45. So
Yeah, that's when you feel it. I mean,
yeah,
I see people who post like, yeah, man, I bought in at $5,000 and got a bunch of shares, and this morning I looked at it's $3,000 and I'm just like, well, I didn't need these pants anyway.
yeah. No, but on the other hand, though, I do I do have like a little bit of investments in like entertainment stuff.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So like Live Nation and Cinemark
Oh, nice. Okay.
and airlines and stuff like that. Again, not a lot, but I mean at some point that's gonna hopefully blow up a little bit, and then I can get out of that and invest in like something with a dividend.
Yeah, I think there's good ways to do that if you Google it, and like in terms of like how to invest to get a guaranteed annual return. I think usually most of those are going to be like ETFs or indexes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I prefer going for the long term like shadow hold where it's like, okay, this is worth crap right now. It'll probably be worth crap the next 2 years, but in 3 years, then we're gonna be getting that private island money. And so that's what I try to go for too, mostly because it's easier. Just I don't have to think about it. I don't have to look at it. I just do enough research to know that this is a good investment. I put it in, and I'm like, all right, cool. Talk to me in a year. We'll check right back in then.
Yeah. Oh, probably be a good chance it's gonna by private island. You might mean a pile of sand in the middle of a inflatable pool.
That's the dream, man. Whether I'm not telling you what kind because I don't want to limit myself.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, at the same time too, it would be nice to build up enough where I could do like effective day trading as well on my own, or at least
Yeah.
occasionally.
I mean, and that's another thing too, right? It's the problem with like, yeah, if you really want to make money on stocks, like you got to have time and money, right? Like you need that big pile of money in the beginning, and then the time to make sure you do the right shit with it.
Yeah.
And it's like the common retail person where we're just kind of throwing money at the market and hoping something grows. It's like it's better than a savings account. It does nothing for you anymore.
And again, also, if you got enough money, you have the time.
Oh
So
yeah,
is that
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, why is this getting easier the more I don't need it to be easy? It's like this just, I mean, that's just the nature of the game, unfortunately.
I was gonna say actually, Bobby's been looking at getting into stocks
Oh,
and
has
stuff
he?
now
Oh, that's right,
too.
because you hung out with
Yeah.
him. Be interesting. I haven't seen him forever. I'd love to talk to him about what he thinks about all that. I'm still gung ho in crypto right now. Like I've just bought a bunch of Ethereum. I also bought Mana, which is this really interesting coin. It's the coin for a virtual world called Decentraland. Now, think basically Ready Player One, because that's what this is going to become eventually. But the idea is that it's a digital world with fixed Cartesian coordinates. So it's not like, oh, we're just going to add more land and forever and whatever we want. Yay. Because then it's worthless, right? Because then it's just like everything else. But the idea is that if it's a fixed virtual landscape, then when you buy land, it's actually physical. You can actually physically move in this, albeit through a VR headset or something, or through your
Digital, but
computer.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's defined. And eventually, what they'll like right now, what they have is the ability to go in, buy land, and build on it. And they've designed it so you can basically do whatever you want. You could build a park, you could build a museum, you could build your own clubhouse, you could build a strip bar. I mean, you could do whatever the hell it is you want on it. You could make it a video game land where the second you walk in, now you're playing a video game. Or you could do it to be like, I mean, like there's almost limitless application because it's basically anything you would do with real land in the real world It's just now virtual. And like what's cool too is that they predict, based on the way that actual world works, is that you'll end up getting these communities or neighborhoods in the areas that kind of act like you like. I mean, let's put it this way: there's a reason why restaurants and bars are all next to each other in any given street.
Yeah,
it's because they do better that way, and it's one of those counterintuitive things in business that at one point was counterintuitive, but now is much better. Like it makes sense. Where like having competitors nearby is actually good for the economy and good for your business, as opposed to not having anybody else nearby. And you know, of course, like, right, like, but if I'm the only guy in town, that means they have to buy from me. Well, yeah, but that means that there's not any reason to come to your town, right? If you're the only thing around, you know, and then it becomes boring. It's like people go to Las Feliz or Pasadena or Hollywood for the cool restaurant scenes, right? And it doesn't matter. It's like, oh, well, this one's full. Cool. I can still hit up these other ones. And so they profit off each other's overflow. But so that's the principle of this thing. And right now what they're working on it is they're making it so users can actually interact with each other in the virtual land, which I'm sure they're going to have a way to turn off, right? Because like, what if I wanted to go in? I just don't want to deal with anybody else. I mean, that would be kind of like cool. It'd be like, it's like when you want to go to, it's like, have you ever been to a movie theater and you're the only guy in the movie and it's kind of awesome?
Yes.
Has that ever happened to you? Yeah, it's like that same principle. And so I think it's actually got some serious promise. It's only like, it's $1 a coin right now, $5 or $6 or something. But when I first was researching it, about 3 weeks ago, before I had the funds to do anything about it, it was like 60 cents. And I'm like, oh shit, this shit's trending. And like a year ago, it was 6 cents a coin or less than that. And they've been working on the project since I think like 2017, and they've made it a crypto based. They launched the crypto, I think, in 2018 or something. But that's the whole point about cryptocurrency that I love. It's just like, you can find any of these coins, and if they are a cool enough thing, and if they actually look like they could do something like real value, right, then it's like, oh man, you could get some serious noise out of this. The problem with crypto is it's just so confusing to understand and get into. Like, there's no real platform. I mean, some try, but there's no real platform that make it easier for people to understand. And kind of like what Robinhood did with investing, right? It made people like, oh, this is easy to get because I'm using this and I'm seeing what's happening, and like there's tutorial videos and shit like that. There's nothing really like that for crypto on an easy, mass-producible scale yet. Now, whatever company does that company is going to make a lot of money.
Let's say the one that I hear about a lot is Coinbase.
Coinbase is actually the one I use, but like, I know it's not the best. It's simple for what I need it to do, because I'm not making like crazy advanced moves. I'm not doing staking or anything like that. The coins, but the thing is, like, I did the research on coins that are not supported by Coinbase that I do want, and I figured out how to take my Coinbase coins and trade them out, even though Coinbase doesn't support it. So it's like, it's one of those things where you have to do all this extra homework and figure all this shit out. And like getting a wallet, for example, that's like a whole thing that I have to explain to people. It's like, oh, well, there's a reason why I actually have a physical wallet for my cryptocurrency, because that actually makes them the most secure. It's like, but it's digital. Yeah, and it's called hackers.
Oh, I see. So just like putting them on a external hard drive, basically.
Essentially, the thing is that while the currency itself is designed to be impossible to hack, right? So I can't hack into the currency and all of a sudden make it worth X amount per coin, or I can't make it like so everyone's coins automatically go to me. What I can do is, if I'm a hacker, I can see, well, what person has all of their crypto stuff locked in their app and hasn't transferred it to a safe location. All I have to do is hack their app and then send the money to myself. See, and that's the transaction. So as hackers go for the transaction part of it, they don't go for the coin itself. If there's a cryptocurrency that is not secure enough to be unhackable, then it's not worth investing in the first place. And that's one of the first things that people look at now.
And that's why I'll stick to regular stocks for now.
Hey, if you stick with what you're good, stick with what you know. It's the best advice I could give, and I am not a financial advisor, so don't sue me.
I
All those listeners.
say most people aren't financial advisors.
Yeah, even financial advisors
Yeah,
aren't
yeah,
financial
right.
advisors.
Or at least act to be.
Yeah, the ones on TV that say like, "Oh yeah," like there was like this one guy oh, I forget what it was. It was like he said he was like a cybersecurity expert or something, and he had never heard of something that like everybody our age knows about. I forget what it was. Oh shit, I forgot. It was just like one of those like, here's a snapshot of this guy on the news talking about something and as an expert. He said when questioned he had no idea about this, and it's like, bro, like I know about that. Come on.
Well, like Trojan horse or something like that.
No, something more like it was something like it had something to do with like CAPTCHA or something. I don't know if it had to do with CAPTCHA or not. I can't remember. God, I wish I did. But it was like it was one of those things where I know like if I said it to you, you'd be like, "Oh, I have a general idea where that is." This guy just flat out said on the news like, "What's that?"
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Fuck. What else? I had something else, but I don't.
That's okay. We burnt a good one tonight.
Oh yeah. Uh, yeah, burnt a good one, but didn't burn out my internet connection.
Which is nice.
It's good and solid today.
Yeah, it was good.
So yeah, as always, that has been, well, I mean, not as always, as has been for the last year and a half or so like that. That's another episode of the jankityasspodcast for you. Well, actually, no, not a year and a half. It's not even 52 yet. But we're getting there. We are.
We never said we could count.
That's what the
this
board's
is part
for.
of our yeah, that's what the board's for.
Yeah. But we are getting there. We'll have a fucking Zoom anniversary of the podcast at some point.
A bunch of people calling in.
I might have to get a party hat or something like that. Yeah, so if you haven't already, if you're watching this on YouTube, go to the corner of the image, like and subscribe, Multi-Murdy Media. You will get the Jankity Ass podcast, as well as my other two shows that I have on here in various different playlists. And if you prefer listening to the podcast, we're on every major podcasting platform. So that's your iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, yada yada. We're tired of this shit now. And a bunch of other platforms in between. Also, which I haven't mentioned before, multimurdymedia.com online. So you get links to all the different shows. You also get the model gallery for a bunch of stuff that's in the Poncho's Paint Booth, as well as just some other pieces that I've done before. What else? Multi-Murdy Media on Instagram and Facebook. You go there, you get, again, links to the different shows and updates to the shows as they come out. And now, more recently, Multi-Murdy Media on TikTok. I've been doing... I've been cutting up, whatchamacallit, highlights of both Gutsy Ass and Paint Booth shows. Well, I've only done one for Paint Booth so far, but more for video game stuff. And by highlights, usually whenever I kill something, which is, well, it's a highlight. It's definitely more of a highlight than, just walking around in the fucking middle of nowhere. And then all of that is also on Instagram Reels as well, which is a little bit annoying because their videos are only they only take clips that are like 2/3 as long as TikTok takes. So I get one, but then not exactly the whole thing of the other one.
Weird.
And then, of course, Tom here is on our buddies TFG Radio podcast.
Yep. And so that's me and the judges from the LVO 40K Syndicate Circuit, whatever word you want to use. And we talk about all things 40K and a lot of things memes and a lot of things us being salty bitches about shit. It's a lot of fun.
Unlike here. Yeah, we're not salty at all.
Was it? Sorry. Did I say the quiet part out loud?
No, I think the saltiness is well documented at this point. Oh, speaking of one last little thought for you guys. Speaking of salty and our the Salty John, the most famous 40K judge in all the land. I saw
in all of 40Kdom.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, the most famous 40K judge. There you go. No, I was gonna say actually in one of my other Warhammer groups, I saw somebody had put up the thing where I guess someone had made they used a like an AI to create a realistic digital whatchamacallit?
Faces?
Yeah, sure, faces. I had a fancier word in mind, but faces of all of the Roman emperors based on their busts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen something similar to that.
Yeah, and well, the first thing I thought of was like, all these guys look like douchebags. Right?
I think what you're looking for is patrician in features.
Like half a Guido. And that's the podcast. Just a bunch of douchebags. So, as always, thanks for tuning in, and we will see y'all next week.
Take it easy.